You're listening to the Hustled Up podcast. I'm Laura Natoli.
And I'm Holly Silva, and we are best friends since birth turned multi-passionate entrepreneurs and co-owners of Chores and More, a successful service-based business where everybody is treated like a best friend.
Welcome to our show where tactical business education meets fun and real conversations about this wild journey called life.
Get ready to be inspired. Grab your headphones, turn up the volume, and let's hustle up.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Hustled Up. We are your host. I am Laura.
And I'm Holly.
And if you are watching this right now, instead of just listening, you know, after last week's big announcement, we are now recording video along with the audio. So if you didn't know that that was a thing, you can definitely come watch it over on Spotify and also on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces along with the wonderful audio. And before we jump into today's topic, as always, I do want to remind you, wherever you are listening, if you are loving what you are hearing, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Leave us a little love note, give us those 5 stars, and we'll love you forever. But today, we really don't have anything crazy in terms of topic planned. We really wanted to use this as a catch-up episode because this is our first episode of season 3, which is very exciting. And we just wanted to chat a little bit about what you can expect from us going forward in the future.
Yeah, I'm so excited. First of all, being on video is crazy. I have to actually look decent now when I record. I can't look like a potato inside of a sack anymore.
That's $1 in the jar.
It is $1 in the jar. But it's nice because I'm hoping that through being here visually, we can, obviously we know that not everybody can watch. Like podcasts are primarily made for listening, but I'm hoping that we can get a little more tactical with things by giving visuals of different things. So I am super excited to be able to share just a little bit more and give you guys like even more tips and tricks and education and tactical strategies and advice. And it's going to be really, really good. Like we are leveling up, y'all. We are leveling up.
Yes, we are. We've been talking about it for so long too. We were like, we should do video podcasting. We should do video podcasting. And then Holly and mine, our fatal flaw is that we have such brilliant ideas and great creative ideas, but we have really terrible follow through. So, which we learned from our Kolbe assessments, which will be its whole other own topic that we plan to talk about and show you visuals. We can show you our actual visual, tangible results. But we've been chatting about it for so long and we were like, you know what, let's just freaking do it. Let's learn how to do it. It's actually a lot easier than we even thought it was going to be. And I feel like that's how a lot of things are in life. It's like, we should do this, but it's scary because it's something new and unknown and we just freaking did it.
Yeah, I feel like for me too, I don't know. I do find it exciting to dive into new things. Like Laura and I, this week flew by for us because we were getting to know, we record through Riverside now, our podcast is hosted through Spotify for podcasters, and they're like teaming up together to, I don't know, like I guess be able to do this, to do video and edit and do all the fun things that come with Riverside, but also still be hosted through Spotify. So it was overwhelming, of course, but especially after I was a guest on a different podcast last week, which I'll definitely plug when it releases at some point. But we recorded that through Riverside and I was like, whoa, wait, okay, hold on. This is so fun. Plus now we know that Riverside and Spotify are teaming up here. And so at that point, it kind of became a no-brainer. Like, I want to figure this out. I want to learn it. And then we just started watching the YouTube tutorials and just learning everything. And I feel like it was so fun. Like it was like exciting because Laura and I get excited over new things. I don't call it shiny object syndrome. It kind of is to a degree, but it's also just like when we can start being innovative with all this new technology and all these new things and like be able to put some of our like dreams into practice or like fantasies into practice. That's when we live for that. So this week like flew by because we were just doing so much studying and like learning, the Riverside software. And I'm sure it'll get better as we go. I mean, as you can see, we're not using fancy webcams. We're looking a little blurry probably on your screen. I don't know, but eventually we'll get, better technology and things like that. But as our coach always says, done is better than perfect. So
Yeah, it's true. I
so
feel
we
like
wanted
that's
to
also
jump
like,
on.
yeah, I feel like that's also why we end up pushing things off. I feel like we both have a little bit of perfectionist syndrome, so we end up pushing things off. So we're really working hard to flex that done is better than perfect, muscle and just dive in. And things can always, it's cool too to see the progression of things. Like right now, yes, I'm looking over here like Casper the Ghost. I'm so washed out with this webcam. I would like to purchase a better webcam, but it's going to be really cool once we can purchase better equipment, find better software and all that good stuff, better microphones. It's going to be really cool to look back and be like, wow, look at how much we've grown from the first visual episode.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the fun in any journey. You know what I mean? They always say it's all about the journey, not the destination. And so I think we're going to really be able to level up like every aspect of this podcast. And if there's one thing Laura and I are both passionate about, it's about business ownership and like being an entrepreneur and pursuing your passions and learning, and all those things. So I'm hoping we can really help you be not only like learn tactical strategies, but also be inspired to just go for it. Cause that's how we do, so I'm hoping we can like inspire you guys to do the same. I want to like, okay. I'm sorry. I felt like I wasn't centered in the frame.
I know. I'm like, where
you
do
have
I
to
look?
bear with us. I know you gotta, I know. Cause like if I look directly into the cam, I'm like making eye contact with you and I feel awkward. I'm like, hello. So
this is definitely a new journey. Even like starting the intro, I'm like, okay, what do I normally say again? What do I do? What? It's like adding in a whole nother beast. I'm like, what is our podcast structure again?
I know. And I feel like something else that's going to be a challenge is doing a video podcast, but relying on your sound because not everybody is watching. Whereas when I'm filming for like YouTube or something, you're most likely watching it. So you don't have to rely so strongly on what you're saying. And
That's
it's
true.
a little opposite. It's a little opposite. So I feel like it's going to be a little bit of especially if we do visual episodes like with strategies, like I really want to show you guys how we use Discord to run our employee communications. And I want to show that, you know what I'm saying? That's like, I've been talking about this for like over a year now, but I have to make sure I explain it in a way where it makes sense to somebody who's just listening while I'm also showing it to the people who are watching. So it's going to be a little challenge. So you guys got to definitely bear with us as we move along here. And we decided to make this a new season because now it's different. You guys probably noticed our little intro is different now. We're trying to really figure out where we belong in this little podcast sphere. You know what I'm saying? So we really want to cater this podcast to being like a mostly service-based business podcast because that's what we do. That's what we know. But Laura and I, at the end of the day, are very multi-passionate, and there are things outside of that that we love. So hopefully we can make it work. And I hope that you guys will join us regardless. I think that there will be an episode for everybody. Maybe you don't want to listen to every episode if you're not in the service-based, industry. But at the same time, what do we learn? What did we teach you guys when we did our branding episode? It's that you don't cater to every single person,
Yeah.
So that's what I have to like teach myself. Like not everybody's going to love us and our content is not going to appeal to everybody. But I think that there will be at least one episode for everybody because we're going to be covering a lot of different things. And Laura has a list, I think. You have a list, right?
Oh yeah, I have a list in the computer and there's so many different things that range from like really, really niche down tactical business advice to just like the intro says, lifestyle. I mean, Holly and I, even in the past, we've done episodes about eating healthy, when to prepare for, lunch on the go. We're always doing different episodes. So even if it's not for everyone, hopefully we'll take something away. Or if maybe this doesn't fully appeal to you, maybe you have a friend that does. I mean, my main goal with this podcast is to be able to help the entrepreneur that's starting off, that doesn't know a dang thing about business or, is maybe a little scared to start their own business, but they really, really want to. My goal is to be able to provide the listeners with education and helpful tips to not make the same mistakes that we did. Because I so wish that we had something like this to listen to when we were starting off in business. It would help so much.
Yeah, it would have. It definitely would have. We really just want to be there because it gets lonely. Like, it gets so lonely. And that's why, like, not only is the business education so important, which it is, but like just talking about how to like manage your life outside of it and like stay in control of it and enjoy it, right? Like, we only get one chance here. So it can't all be about work all the time, you know? But as an entrepreneur, everybody knows, you know, it's a challenge to achieve balance. So we talk about that a lot on this podcast. And, you know, we love to give ideas for things that can be done within a budget or that are just, you know, fun and don't require a lot of time or energy, because at the end of the day, we don't have the same amount of time that some other people do, especially in the early stages of business ownership. But yeah.
Exactly. And we do also plan to, and I think that doing the video episodes will also be very helpful with this. We plan to have a lot more guest episodes. So we're going to be doing some reach outs. We already have some people on the docket. We do actually have an application, which Holly designed on our gorgeous Hustled Up website, where you can go and just fill it out. You absolutely do not have to be a business owner to be a guest on this podcast. We've had people who are guests on this podcast who aren't business owners. It's not a requirement. Again, this is for the busy bee, the multi-passionate doer. Yes, we talk a lot about service-based businesses, but you don't have to be a business owner to be a guest on this podcast. And I think that video recording will really help with having guests on, because Holly and I, we normally don't even record with video because we know each other so well. We know when the other person is done speaking. We know when, you know, it's my turn to talk. But, you know, managing multiple people, having the video, I think, is really going to help level up our guest game.
For sure. I mean, we every time we have a guest, we still record on video.
Yeah, they just don't get to see it.
They just, yeah, we don't publish the video part because that's just so that we could like see each other and have a real conversation. But now to be able to share that, that's great. But I think also, and Laura, you could correct me if I'm wrong here, if you're camera shy, I don't want to like stray you from not applying to be on. I mean, either we can just work through that or we can do an audio episode for you if that is, you know, more your speed. But we're definitely thinking, you know, video is more fun. It's better. But I don't want to, you know, people who are camera shy, I don't want you to shy away from being a guest if you would rather just be on audio.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? I mean, we'd love to see your beautiful face, but if you don't want that, that's also fine.
Totally. I'm excited for the new Hustled Up.
I am too. I think it's gonna be good. And we have so many good episode topics lined up. I mean, we plan to talk about everything from, like Holly said, going over our communication Discord channel and our Kolbe assessments, the DISC assessment, all these different types of personality tests, as far as like really niched topics like what to do when you're overstaffed, what to do when you're understaffed, how to communicate with your employees. I mean, we have so many really, really specific tactical episodes lined up for the docket. And if there's anything that you want us to talk about, please, we always stress this, reach out to us, DM us, send us an email. We want to talk about the things that you guys need to hear or that you want us to talk about. So we're always open, but we have so many good things lined up for this season. I'm so excited.
Yes. And I do think, if I'm not mistaken, that our podcast on Spotify, right? Like on Spotify for podcasters, it also, I have to experiment more with this, but I'm pretty sure there is a feature where you can leave a voice message for us to ask a question. So maybe you don't want to come on yet, but you can leave a voice message and we can address it. We could play it and address it in an episode. I actually just noticed this feature the other day when I was working on some podcast stuff. So I will, if that is a possibility, I will link it in the show notes just so that you guys can go and leave voicemails for us, because we would love to get those as well.
That's so cool. I love that. I love that. Yeah. I would love to down the road do like live caller question episodes, you know, write into us and we'll answer your question episodes. That's the goal.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, this was, you know, this is kind of our introductory to season 3 episode, but I do have a couple questions that Holly and I are going to answer for you. Just some basic general business owner podcasting questions, just a few, just as like a little welcome back, you know. This is the start of a new journey for us here at Hustled Up. And the first question I have actually is related to podcasting, Hall. Which I kind of answered this a little bit, but I want to know what your answer would be. What would you say your number one goal or intention is when it comes to this podcast?
That's a great question. Honestly, I want to be able to make more connections. I love being able to teach and inspire. That's really like, I live for it. I eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I also want to be able to connect with people and take this a step further. I mean, how cool would it be to have like in-person workshops or conferences or like whole events? I mean, you never know. It could go anywhere. And so I'm hoping that we can really get it to that point where we have an entire community where people can go and really just connect with each other, connect with us, seek out advice, just support each other. You know, like sometimes it's not even advice that you need, but you just need somebody to like lend a listening ear. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of the big thing for me and what I hope to achieve through this podcast.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like, you know, as I said, I want to be that support for somebody who's just starting out, who maybe is scared to ask the questions and has nowhere to go. I want to be a comfortable, safe sounding board for people who are struggling and feel like, because for me, I know whenever I'm the small fish in a big pond, like when we go to our conferences like CBF Live, there are so many questions I want to ask these huge business owners, but I'm kind of afraid to. And it's nothing that they're doing that makes me afraid. It's my own internal struggle with imposter syndrome and all of that comes along with that. But I want to be a safe space for people. I want to be a safe space, whether or not you own a business with 2 clients or 400 clients. I want to be a safe space where you can come, chat, ask for advice, get advice, you know, give advice, and just be a safe space for just busy bees.
Totally. I love that. Awesome. I never want somebody to feel like they should feel embarrassed or like they're not good enough. Like I've had those feelings like, oh, who am I? And I want to be that like safety net for those people to like not be afraid to just yeah. And I want to hopefully inspire our listeners to just be confident no matter what stage of their business they're in or where they are in their life. You know what I mean? Like I don't want people to measure like their value through how successful their business is or how much money they make or any of that stuff, because that's not, in my opinion, that's not an indicator of your value. So I think it's important that everybody know, whoever's listening to this, that like where you are in your business or your life is not an indicator of how valuable you are and what you have to offer. And I have given advice to people with businesses triple my size. I'm not kidding. Like triple our businesses size. Like you have gifts and talents and knowledge that people who are more successful than you, and for people who are just listening, I'm doing the air quotes here. And like you should share that and be confident in that. Be confident in what you know and what you have, and you know, those unique things that you know, or those unique talents that you have, or those unique gifts, those unique strengths, you know, lean into them and share them and be confident in them.
Absolutely. And I think we could reach those goals realistically down the road as we continue to grow and evolve with this podcast and reach more people. That's really the goal, to reach more people that need us and that we need as well.
Totally.
Awesome. Well, that was a good answer. All right. Leaning a little bit more into the business side of things. Okay. So if you could go back in time into a time machine and travel back to February 1st, 2018, which is the day that Holly and I officially registered our business, what is the one piece of advice you would give yourself?
Don't do it. No, I'm kidding.
horrible advice.
I'm totally kidding. I have no regrets. Um, but serious talk. The one thing that I would tell myself is to not be afraid to set boundaries. That's like my big thing right now. It's my big struggle. It's my big thing.
Like in business and in life, or?
Yeah, in both. I have trouble telling people no. I have trouble with boundaries in every aspect of my life. I have trouble walking the line of being a leader versus being not a friend, but like, I want to be a leader without being like a dictator, so I deal with that in terms of business. Setting boundaries in my personal life as to who I'm going to allow take up my energy and my space, my safe space, like who I'm going to let into that is a struggle. And so many other things, but and with clients too, like how to set boundaries with them and sometimes tell them no without being like a bad business owner or seeming like I don't care, right? Like sometimes, you want to do something for somebody, but you can't. You have to set that boundary and say, no, I can't do this for you. This is not something I can do without feeling guilty about it, And it's a little bit of everything, like a little bit of in every little piece of my life, there's like a boundary issue. And I have not perfected this even a little bit. I've gotten a little bit better at it, but it's not great. So that's my big thing that I would tell myself, like start working on this now because you're going to need a lot of help with it.
Yeah, it's hard. I feel like it's even harder in your personal life, if I'm being honest, to set those boundaries.
Yeah, it's a little easier in business only because you're not as close to those people, right? Like, but I'm an emotional person as it is, and I let my emotions weigh heavily on my decisions sometimes, and it's to a fault sometimes. So, I gotta lean in heavier on my like logic, like the logical side of my brain. And, there's nothing selfish about being like saying no or putting your best interests first sometimes. And that's not to say like, don't ever do anything for anybody, but like, sometimes like I feel guilty a lot when I have to say no or when I can't do something or when I have to put a boundary in place for whatever reason. Like guilt tends to follow that, but I don't want that to be anymore. Like I don't want to feel guilty. My boundaries are reasonable ones. It's not even like they're not reasonable. You know what I mean? They're the boundaries I'm trying to set anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, you're not an unreasonable person. And all the boundaries that I know you have, you're not unreasonable.
In most cases, I'm trying. So, so I think that's like the big thing for me. Like, don't be afraid to say no. Like, work on setting boundaries now. So, what about you?
Very similar, actually, I would say. And very, very similar. I would say the big one that comes to mind for me is, again, saying no, that it's okay to say no, and also to have the courage not to be liked by everyone. And that goes for clients, that goes for employees, that goes for, in life too. I am a people pleaser through and through. I've always been. Something I'm really trying to work on is not being a people pleaser. And when we started out the business, I would say yes to everything and anything in terms of the work. I mean, some of the things that I have done for this job, which Holly knows, I'll save that for a different episode. I would go back and smack my past self for doing. And now we have gotten so good at saying no and setting the lines on what we will do and what we won't do in terms of work, in terms of what we'll do at the jobs, at the houses. We've gotten really, really good at defining those lines, and it has saved our butts time in and time out now that we know what we'll say no to. Now I would say I'm more so working on, so that's what I would go back and tell my past self: say no to things that don't make sense or that you don't want to do. Now I'm more so working on, again, the courage to not be liked And whether that means setting those boundaries that you mentioned, saying no, putting your foot down when you have to, that's something that I'm still working through, and that I would tell my past self, start working on this a little bit earlier. Start working on this
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah.
I
There's a
feel that.
book apparently called The Courage Not to Be Liked, or The Courage to Not Be Liked, or something like that. And I'm definitely going to download that on our Audible because I feel like I need it.
Sounds good. I'll listen to it too when you're done.
Yeah. People pleasers through and through. There's so much more though I would go back and tell us. Like I would also be like, hire a coach right now. Hire a coach, find a good program. It's worth every penny. You know, don't be afraid to ask questions, do your research. Like there's so many things I'd go back and tell myself.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. All right. Well, another question for you, kind of similar to the podcasting question, but in terms of the business, what is one way that you would want to make impact through the business, whether it be in the community, in your own life, in other people's lives? How do you want to use the business to make impact?
It's a good question, honestly.
It's a tough one.
That is a tough one. Cause like we do have an impact in like a lot of ways. You know, we give back to our community. We provide free cleanings for cancer patients. We provide job opportunities, which is, I love that. I love providing job opportunities, and I hope to provide like bigger ones, like, or like, you know, like leadership roles. Like I really would love to develop leaders for our business, like people who can lead either alongside us, or, you know, if we ever decide to take a step back from our business, you know, when we're big. And in doing that, like in training these leaders, also build their confidence and in themselves. I feel like it always comes back down to that. Like I just want to help, I just want to inspire people to like be confident and like see the great things in themselves. There's too many people who just think they're not good enough, or they're not worthy of something, you know? And so I am sick of that. I want everybody to feel good about themselves and see all the goodness that they have to offer. And that kind of applies for our clients too. I can't tell you how many times, like, especially when Laura and I used to clean, where we would walk in and they would apologize for like the mess in their house or be like embarrassed. And I would be like, do you think you're not like worthy of a cleaning service? Like, you think you have to do all this on your own? I don't want to freaking clean unless I'm getting paid for it. That's why we started doing it in the first place. But like, I don't even clean my own apartment anymore. I don't have kids. Like, you know, you would think there's like no excuse. No, I'm worthy of having a cleaner. I'm worthy of that. Like, and I value that cleaner coming in and doing that because my time is better spent somewhere else. And I'm not going to be ashamed of that.
No, and
So
you
I want
shouldn't
people,
be.
no. And I feel like, you know, and I don't go grocery shopping anymore. Lord knows. I'm done with it. It's like it's beyond me now. I'm beyond it. Maybe I don't know if I'm wording it right. Like I'm done with grocery shopping. My time is better spent elsewhere. I'm like sick of it. Doesn't make me lazy. Doesn't make any of that. It just means that I see my value spending my time doing other things, and that's that. So I want to be able to make people realize and be comfortable in their like what they deserve. You know what I mean? And like, if you don't want to clean your house, that's freaking fine. That's great. You shouldn't be cleaning your house. You should be doing other things. You should be living your life and loving your life, you know? And I want to be able to have that impact on the staff as well. Like I said, building up their confidence and helping them see their value and all the good things. So, you know, yeah.
I love that. It's
So
true.
I feel like that was a lot, but it's hard to just say like one thing.
No, it is. It is hard. And I feel like we do make such a big impact. Like I never thought that a day would come where we were responsible for people's livelihoods. Like that's
I know.
crazy.
I know.
That's crazy. It's a lot of pressure too. Like it's a lot of pressure. You are responsible as a business owner for, now at this point we have 7 full-time employees. We're responsible for 7 people's livelihoods. And it's crazy.
I'm gonna throw up.
I know. It's such a scary, weird thought, but it's so true. And like I love that we are able to provide that for people and provide a
Yeah, it's
safe
awesome.
space to come into work, to feel fulfilled, hopefully, you know, to have the bosses that we never had, frankly,
Yeah.
to be
And
honest.
it's like more than even just paying them and yeah, I mean, obviously we're paying them. Like for some of them, we're making sure food is on the table, right? That's awesome and huge and great. But like also to just help them see how great they are in like what they do for us and in their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I would say we're pretty good at, you know, showing our employees how incredible they are.
Mm-hmm.
They are the VIPs in our company. They are treated like gold, and I think that they know that. I really do. If we're doing our
Yeah.
jobs right, they know that, and I really think at heart that they do.
Yeah. I could see it in some of them and I love
Yeah,
it.
and I've seen growth too. It's so funny. It's especially, you know, we talk about her all the time, but Ashley, our number one right-hand woman, we've seen such growth in her. And I think a lot of that growth and confidence has been built from starting off in our company as a cleaning technician and growing into more of a leadership position. Because throughout the years, she's taken on more and more leadership roles, a trainer, a deep clean specialist. She's taken, you know, she's going to be coming into the office soon. So her confidence has grown exponentially. And I do think that working here had a big role in that.
For sure. I agree. Giving
Yeah.
ourselves all the credit. No.
I know. She didn't do anything. No. No,
It
she
was
really
all us.
It was all us. You're welcome, Ashley. No. In all seriousness, Holly and I think we're good at digging and pushing people in a way where we bring them out of their comfort zone, because that's how growth happens, right? Growth happens every time you step out of your comfort zone. And I will say Ashley's had to step very much outside her comfort zone to grow as much as she did, and it's
Totally.
incredible. It's incredible to watch, along with a lot of our employees. They do some hard things. They're in some situations where I'm like, I don't think I would have handled this situation as well as you would have. And I've seen tremendous growth in pretty much almost all of them.
Yeah. I
It's
love
been
it.
fun to watch. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love
It's this ASMR.
it. Now that we have mics, we can like totally do ASMR.
I'm like,
And you like do the you can hear it?
yeah, I can hear it.
I'm like tapping on my if people are watching, I'm tapping on my mic. All right, we'll be okay.
We'll be good. But yeah, I feel like I honestly would have the same answer. I also just feel like the more that we grow financially and in size, the more good we'll be able to do. The more cancer patients we'll be able to provide free cleanings for. We can, you know, donate financially to other organizations that we feel strongly about. We can give back to our church. There's just so, with every opportunity that we have that we grow into, it's going to allow for us to just make a bigger impact financially in the community. We can give back at events. We can host more fundraising events. There's just so much more that comes with the growth. And that's the driving factor, I feel like, behind a lot of what we do for me.
Totally. I agree. I love it.
Awesome. I love it too.
That
was pretty
good.
much all my questions. Did you like them?
I love them. Good job. Good
Thanks
job.
so much. Thanks so much. Well, I hope that this was helpful for you. This was really just like an intro, welcome to season 3 type of episode. Like I said, we're going to be diving into some really tangible advice soon. So if there's anything you want to know, please let us know. And we are also, and I know we say this all the time, but now with these video episodes, I really think that it's going to be easier for us. Work smarter, not harder. We are going to be committing to showing up more on social media. So please go check us out at Hustle It Up Podcast on Instagram. Send us an email at hustleituppodcast@gmail.com. Go fill out that application to be a guest on our episode. We would love to have you. We have had like such a small handful of guest episodes, and we really want to have some more.
Yeah. And I guess I'll just plug everything else. If you wanna connect with our business and see like how we present ourselves in that service-based industry space on the internet, you can find us at Chores and More on both TikTok and Instagram, and also on Facebook. We're everywhere. And all these links, by the way, will be in the show notes and the description. So don't worry about trying to memorize them. We just like to say them anyway. And if you want to connect with me, I am at Planning and Polish everywhere.
Awesome. And I am at Laura Ann Natoli on Instagram and TikTok. Go connect with us. And we will be back next week. Make sure that if you are listening to the audio format of this, that you go check out the video content. Share this with a friend. If there's somebody that you think needs us in their earbuds, please share this with a friend and have an incredible week. We will see you next time.